Thank you for the invitation.
Finally, I will get the camera on for the studio so you can chat to Lucas now that we are finally ready with the connections here, and we can get started in a moment. Okay, let me see. And then we can see him.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you see me? Yes. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Nice to see both of you.
That's fantastic. Erika,
Yes.
just lovely to see you.
Meet Erika, meet Joanna.
Joanna, I saw the interview. You were wonderful, both of you, but I love that show. I remember it.
You saw it. I have to see your show too. Yeah.
Oh,
There's so much.
thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. You can support our work on our website, ageoftruth.tv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, BitChute and Brighteon. And remember to hit the bell for notifications. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook. To be sure not to miss any of our shows, you can sign up for our newsletter on our website, ageoftruth.tv.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Age of Truth TV. I'm Lucas Alexander in Copenhagen, Denmark. And welcome to what will surely be a fascinating roundtable discussion with two strong, independent, wonderful and fascinating ladies that we have on the show tonight to discuss a lot of hot topics, positive as well as negative, with ERIKA NANN and Joanna Pilatovic.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening from Copenhagen, Denmark, and welcome to this roundtable discussion special episode of Age of Truth TV. I'm Lucas Alexander in Copenhagen. Please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. We are so thrilled to welcome our two special guests today to discuss the hot topics of what is going on in the world. We are in the middle of 2023. What is going on now? What is all the dark stuff? We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about the positive takeaway from all of what is going on. And we're here to discuss it with two strong, knowledgeable, fascinating, informed, and great ladies joining us today. The first lady has been with us before. She's joining us from Ocala, Florida. ERIKA NANN, former American model, but she's also a singer and an actress and has a very, very dark, sinister, mysterious and horrific background and history, and you can see that show with her very in-depth, very eye-opening and quite disturbing on our channel, Age of Truth TV. But we're here today to discuss her thoughts on current world matters, as she has become a very informed truth researcher. ERIKA NANN, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Lucas. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And joining us for the first time on Age of Truth TV from Madrid, Spain, is a Polish investigative reporter and truth researcher. I have been on her show because she's also interviewing a lot of fascinating people on her channel. Joanna Pilatovic joining us today. She is an artist and a painter, a clairvoyant, and an intuitive, and a very well-informed truth researcher as well. Thank you so much for being on with us for the first time, but certainly I hope not for the last time, Joanna.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and my pleasure to be with you tonight. It's almost tonight everywhere, right?
We are in the middle of summer, the summer 2023. And what we would like to discuss tonight is, where are we right now in the world, anno 2023, the now and the future? We would like to discuss your take on what is going on in the world right now. I know that you're both really great truth researchers and have been doing a lot of great research for so many years and have a lot of knowledge. We wanted to make this a Power Woman show, and I also want to say that when I had my great awakening in 2005, there were not a lot of women on the scene. They were basically mostly in the spiritual realm and into the spiritual world. But now, and for many years, we have seen so many fascinating and great and wonderful women representing truth and becoming a great inspiration for both men and women in this field. So this is absolutely wonderful, and it's great to do a tribute like that. So we want to talk about what's going on in the world right now with the AI control takeover and transhumanism, depopulation, the whole climate change agenda, the climate lockdowns that they are going to implement, or that's at least the plan, the 10-minute cities, the whole woke agenda, gender agenda, and whatever is connected to, let's say, a global mind control. But we also want to talk about the positive. How can we live? How can we survive? How can we prosper and have a great life in the middle of all of this terror and havoc? So first of all, I'd like to ask you, ERIKA, what do you consider to be the greatest problem right now facing humanity in this world today?
Wow. Well, the thing is that what I have noticed is that it's almost, they're hitting us from every angle. It's not just, it all fits together, their plan. So I believe that the transgender thing and the whole woke thing is part of the AI agenda, and along with everything else collapsing. It's almost, again, I liken the visual I get is the tarot card with the tower, and it's all falling apart. And it's very much a plan, because I believe that if they don't want people having babies, and they want babies now birthed in incubators, and they want people to be one sex, obviously the chickens and the hormones, they said, have demasculated the men by giving them more of the female hormone. And the women, it's the same thing. Whatever they're giving them in pills or inoculations is also making them infertile or giving birth to babies that have neurological problems or anxiety attacks or Down syndrome or autism. I mean, the list just goes on. And then you think of the old people getting Alzheimer's, like off the Richter chart. So I think it's not just a depopulation, but it's getting people where they're desexed and they're targeting the young people, because the old people will be gone by the time, well, I'm not saying some people might live to a very ripe age, but I'm saying they're targeting more the young people, because that is the future. So they don't want young kids having babies. They don't want them having a sex identity. So then when they implement these AI chips or whatever they do with the inoculations, now they are really transfixed on all the things that they can do with the chip, like access the cloud and download like a hive mind mentality. So it's like, oh, wow, well, if I want to be as smart as Albert Einstein or be like Beethoven and so talented, I can do all that with a chip. But what they're not seeing is that once somebody owns a patent and it's in your system, are you patented now where they own you? I mean, this is really incredible stuff. So, and this is not to create any kind of a fear. It's just to be empowered by what is really going on. But I think it's all fits together. The whole destruction of even like getting rid of the food plants and the killing cows by the hundreds of thousands and chickens by the hundreds of thousands. Now, I'm vegetarian, so for me, I just assume that that whole thing with animals being mistreated come to an end, because unless they're giving a life with dignity, it's all sentient, it's all connected. But I feel that the God gene is trying to be removed from humanity and become a machine. And I don't see a soul in a machine. I don't know how that is possible. But they say that the AI they said that and I'm talking scientists, I won't name names, but if you do your research, you'll find that this is all verifiable, that the technology started with the computers and AI back in 1956. I believe it was 1956. 1956. And they said by 2006, it skyrocketed, like literally a vertical growth in what the computers were doing. And they said that now it doubles and doubles and doubles. So imagine if it starts doubling what's in the thousands and then goes doublings into the millions, where our intelligence will never ever even be on that scope. So the scientists know that when they were developing the AI, that they put 5% investment in like the security of like not getting out of control, and 95% into just growing the AI. And it has gone out of control. Now that's the part that we all have to think about, is these machines, this AI, it not very fond of humans from what I understand. So is this pretty much like the movie The Terminator playing out? These are the things that I think about. Ultimately, their goal is to have us more like a computer slave race, in my opinion. And I don't mean that to scare anyone. It's just, if I'm going to look at the bottom end of what I think is happening, the darkest part of the yang, there's always going to be some light in the dark. But, I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were saying, you're being so negative. And I said, well, look at it like a room that's just been covered in darkness. I said, all it's going to take is one pinprick of light. And that's all you're going to see is a pinprick of light. And that's where you have to go, is towards the light. And if that's freedom from fear, slaying your dragons, going within yourself and realize you came in this world alone, you're going to go out alone, and to be liberated of the illusion of fear. Because I don't know what happens when we die. Is something going to be waiting for us on the other veil? Are there beings waiting? Because obviously all this child sacrifice, animal sacrifice, human sacrifice, they're feeding entities, whether it's archons or jinn or demons, whatever you want to call it. But obviously, when they're sacrificing so much life, what is waiting on the other side? What is it that's eating all that energy that of all people in war that are dying and throughout history, and people that have been tortured, and now it's coming to the light that it's still going on. So
we've talked a lot on this show about what is happening, what will happen when we die, and where do our souls go, and what is also interesting at this point in time is to research and also talk about whether or not this AI super brain computer is more than just man-made, if it's actually bigger than that, something that was here for a very, very long time, maybe, that has maybe controlled us for a long time. We don't know, but how the more we put the spotlight on that, like putting the spotlight into the darkness, nothing can grow there. Some people do say that it's a soul snatcher device as well, this whole AI thing. And I think we also want to talk about that. It's not to scare people, obviously, but it is to put the light on the whole situation and to find great ways to survive and prosper and thrive on this planet while we are here during these crucial times. But Joanna, let's go to you. Joanna Pilatovic. Do correct me if I said your name wrong, but is it good? You are from Poland, you are a researcher, and you also do your own show like ours, where you talk to a lot of fascinating people. So you've heard a lot and you've researched a lot. And I'd like to ask you the same question. What do you consider to be the greatest problem and the greatest challenges facing humanity right now?
I totally agree with ERIKA. She said already most of it in a big nutshell, because we can go deeper into it. I just will add from my personal perspective, because when I look at the world and I see all these scary things, and sometimes that fear is getting to every one of us, the thing that I think is the biggest problem is disconnection from our souls, from ourselves. That's the biggest one. Because when we are disconnected from self, we are also disconnected from every being. So if I am connected to myself, I see you as my family, and I instantly want to, you know, explore more. And then I feel like we are stronger. I don't know if it's enough impact that we can make to this world, but that makes me believe. And if I do believe, then of course I can make a change with you, because there's more of us. You know, Lucas, when you do your show, you meet so many people, great people, and your work goes to people who give you feedback that they feel the same, they have the same experiences. That is power, I think. That is our power that we can use. So the connection, the relationships we're creating one to another, I think it's crucial at this point, because as ERIKA said, these are different timelines now that are waving. If you see the timelines, you see maybe in dreams, maybe in visions that you have, that something terrible will happen. You know, I didn't speak actually on your show much about dreaming, lucid dreaming, at least not yet, but I'm big on that. So everything what ERIKA mentioned, I have like glimpses, something I experienced not only through the research, but first sometimes through the nights dreaming or visions. You talk about AI, about how they're creating also the beautiful AI robots. And a long time ago, I had dreams about people that were so beautiful. And they said, it's time we take over the world. And they started to take off their masks, their beautiful faces. They were the most beautiful couples in the world. So now you can look at the celebrities and connect that, of course, which is the, you know, and beyond that, they were absolutely metallic, like AI. You know, that freaked me out, of course, that dream. But I get a lot of those messages, and they are scary. But this is just the one timeline that we pick up every day. But if we are together, if we share, hey, I saw that, you saw that, what can we do about it? Because there is also enormous research about when we come together and we meditate and we send energy, and in a small groups. Why it's better in the small groups, we know that, because the bigger groups it gets, there are always some energies, right, trying to disrupt the process. And this is, of course, crucial that we meet in a small groups. It's enough, 8 people, 10 people, 20 people, so nobody knows, but you have your trusted circle around you. And if you send the energy, it will respond. Also, when we work one-on-one with people, then we can change our own story. We work on ancestors tree. We clear up a lot of things that we never saw before, our reincarnations. We tap into collectiveness. Sometimes my clients, for example, they go at night and clear out subconsciously someone else's portion of life, because they just connected to someone. And it's amazing. And if we just more aware of that, I think we can absolutely, this is my belief, I can be wrong, but I believe in that we can absolutely win this, whatever that is. And I also believe that the darkness seeks the healing. I know it sounds crazy, but it happened, you know, it happened so many times on my path. I had so many of those energies. Probably, Erika, I sense you had it too. That there are dark forces that are approaching us. They have some sort of allowness, whether we sign up a contract within our dreams. We had those. When we sleep, when we are disconnected, we are not conscious. Often we sign up contracts, we don't know about it. If we are getting more energy from meditation, we can remember when that happened. If you had it, I obviously had those. I was clearing up in a conscious dreaming the contract, like now I delete this. And people on the other side were asking me, that is not appropriate, you cannot delete the contract. I said, what contract? There is nothing on the wall anymore, right? So you can delete it. It's our creativity. They do not have creativity. They use our creativity. Even AI, how they create, now is a big issue about AI creating art. Like, it's no longer us. They can take your voice, they can take your life story. I recommend this show, A Black Mirror. Joanne is awful. Synchronicity. It's exactly there how they take your life, and we don't even know about it. They do a deep fake with it. They don't need an actress anymore. They can just do deep fake and put words in your mouth that you never said. That is really, really scary.
But isn't that exactly what some of the Hollywood actors actually came out talking about the other day, because they're on strike in Hollywood? And some people did say that they didn't want this. I don't know if they said AI, maybe they did. I didn't hear it totally. But also they talked about holograms, that they're now signing a will, or signing into their will, that they do not want to become holograms after their death. Or they have to do it in order to not become holograms when they die, if they want to. But people will do it now. But we also heard that that they could potentially do, let's say, a surveillance video of somebody mugging somebody or robbing somebody or doing something, let's say, illegal, but it's not even you. It's an AI created version of you. And then they can say, look, we have the video evidence. And if they don't like you, or they can just, you know, put you in court or put you in prison or something. I mean, I hope this is not going to happen, but this is, they have the means, they have the technology for it, Joanna, right?
This is happening. I have a perfect example from Poland. The governments can do that. I had a guest on the show that he was accused of, I don't know if I can say this word, but you know, it's about children abuse. And it was something that they put on his computer. So I absolutely don't believe that. He was my professor at the university and so on. And he had to leave from Poland. He was put in the jail. He had to leave. And he lives now in Cambodia. So it's absolutely possible. And nobody's safe from that. I mean, everyone who's going into power, into Hollywood, into power, into contracts, it's not safe. And those other people, because of course we talk about it, like what exactly can we do? Some people in Poland claim that if we create those communities, we get rid of internet, we live in a small groups, because they obviously want to limit our, you know, cities and everything. We can live somehow, but those who have resources, they can destroy those communities. I do not particularly believe that if we separate ourselves from those in power, we are going to be better, because they're just going to push us out and eventually they will come for us. So I think that a better method is to access a little bit process of what is happening, to understand your opponent, and do not take it as the most awful, but what is the power in it? What is the value? And I will give you an example here. When long time ago, I had this, let's say, demonic access of some sort of identity. I'm not going to call the name because it came to me, it introduced itself, it had a certain posture, it wanted to take me over and so on. So when I was going into meditation, instead of feeling peace and light, I was hearing hissing and seeing snakes. How scary, right? So there is an entity responsible for that. And with a shaman, I process it and I grabbed that snakes and I started to become a fire. So what happened? Some of those energies upgraded into gargoyles, you know, those gray beings, and they started to be free. Not good, but gray, just in between, just neutral, just hadn't a chance. The other beings burned. So I believe everything is a purpose for something, because it was teaching me something about my powers, about powers of the maybe elements, but also something came for something else. So I think it requires a bigger understanding. What is really behind that darkness? Like you guys already mentioned, Lucas, you said, like, why they need that energy? What is that for, really? For example, why are they trying to block our sun right now? There is this technology they are already testing all over the world. And just to tell you, I was 7 days in Mannheim in Germany. It was 30 degrees. And for a few days, there was no sun. Crazy, right?
We had that here actually a week ago or something in Denmark. It was so hot and humid, but the sun was blocked.
And this technology is not new. This is all technology. The HARP projects, everything was behind. I read a book of my friend who lived in Russia, in Moscow. They were actually there. Russian people were very familiar with the weather control. It was very normal for them that they used in Sochi, they used the manipulation of the weather to have it nicely there, you know. So it's nothing new. It is everything what we're hearing right now. It's old story, I think. Everything what we perceive through the lucid dreaming, through the visions, through the body symptoms, I think this is more impact that we can receive intuitively information of what's happening and maybe bring into our consciousness step by step. Because, you know, when the word that it's not allowed to say that was happening, I had a dream before that time that a lady, that something is born, a new something like a lady, like it's a female something that is affecting everyone and has a long nails. It's bluish and greenish, something like that. And she was unconscious. And then I became her. So again, I went into process to understand why she's here, why she's not a human, why she's created artificially. And later we find out that it was created artificially, of course, big C. And when I started to dance with her, I actually literally started to move and I got a fever. And I felt like, oh my God, I'm getting really sick now. I started to spin, like my body started to do this whatever needs to be done. And in the end, this told me that it's not conscious yet. And it's learning about being conscious. And it was very female-like. But those who will go through that sickness will be upgraded. I have no idea what that means. Immune, right? So we need to collaborate, talk about it, feel it. Everybody needs to go into process for themselves to feel what that really means. Because if I interpret it only from my side, that's only one side of the story. But together, we put those puzzles together, right?
ERIKA, we talked about all these dark forces, and how we can work with the light and find the light. But who do you think is behind? I mean, we know some of the humans that are behind the AI, the human-made AI that we know of now. But if it's even bigger, if it's even grander than we originally imagined and has been there for a very long time, do you think when we talk about these dark entities, and we also talked about that on the show that we did with you, because you had to face a lot of these, let's say, satanic experiences as a child, seeing these dark entities. But when we talk about demons and archons and all of that and reptilians, I know you also talked about that. Do you think that they are AI created, some of them, because some are interdimensional and some are physical, supposedly? Or do you think they're off-world from another planet?
What comes to mind immediately, without having anything prepared, as you were asking me, what I thought of was that this realm of 3D polarity is very much structured for growth. So through the darkness, we exercise the spiritual muscle to be able to pop into the light. And again, it's finding balance. So what I imagine is that outside of this 3D realm, there's so much more that we can't even comprehend, like dimensions where love wouldn't even define what it is. Because I would say, it's interesting, the word love, because we're in a world of polarities. So where there's love, then the opposite end is fear, but they're connected. It's just perspective. So along that line, there's all these little entities, depending on where you are. If you're way down at that end of fear, I'm sure the jinn and the demons and all of the addictions and stuff, they're actually like a piranha. But as you start traversing on that line that is connected, you're finding beings that are of light and energetic and electric and beautiful. And all I know is that when I had a dream, and I think I might have talked about it in the last show, but it was very much how I see humanity. It's if you're adhering too much, and again, this might touch a nerve with people in religion, but if you are relying on a guru or a religion or something that someone else wrote, it's not really coming from your vessel, your temple, your own connection with God, because you are God. We are all God. Everything is God. Every animal, plant, rock, everything. So I think that just the more disconnected you are from that, of course, it's like you're relying on someone to save you. So you say, oh, the blood of Jesus has saved me. Well, that's satanic. I mean, that's a blood ritual. So the Romans concocted that. There's no doubt that was all a Roman bloodthirsty thing. So when you ask me about, beings and stuff, I'm assuming, it's an infinite amount of life forms. It just depends on where you're at with your open vessel of addiction or complete purity. The other thing I was going to say is that in the mystery schools, one of the things that they were very, very firm about was like when your sun sign, when it's in the lunar cycle, in that house of your sun sign, you're supposed to restrain from sex, orgasm, alcohol, sugar, negative thoughts, because that is part of that oil rising through the Kundalini. And these are things that, like, how many times do we think of, like, the astrological alignments aligning with our own alignment of our stars and our cells, which every little blood cell has sparks of light in it. Like when they put a blood cell in a container and turn out all the lights, they see little pops of light coming out of the blood. So that just kind of affirms like the endocrine thing. Like, of course, if you're scaring a child or a person and then drinking their blood, why people are getting off on that. It's disgusting, but I feel like this is coming to an end. I feel like this era of bloodlust is coming to an end. It's in its death throes. And that's why I feel it's going into AI, because
it's
then of course
coming
it's
more.
all
Sorry to
machine.
jump in, Erica, but it's coming more. It's coming more and more into the light, right? People are discovering and talking about it publicly. It's not just like the lone dude working here and there, and wow, he's a pedophile and all that. It's actually really coming to the surface now that it's these elite groups that are doing these horrendous things. And I know you talked about your theory, like a lot of people in this field say that this is part of the, let's say, the reptilian alien agenda to feed on children and do these blood sacrifices, huh?
Yeah, but like again, now they're going more AI. So is it because the life force in the biosuit, you know, because this is all an organic material of the earth, you know, is that, are they foreseeing the future that humans and all life on this planet will end? So now they're trying to go more into the computer realm. I don't know. I mean, this is a very interesting thing. Maybe we are all ascending and we're exiting and they're just trying to get the last good meal out of us, you know, because I really do feel we have an ascension going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Last Supper.
A weird one. What a weird one. Can I just add to Erika what you just said about this blood, because it's obviously important, but there is also, you know, all this UFO stuff about disappearing blood from cows. Remember those stuff? I connected with a George Adamski Foundation, and all these materials are coming out now. Fantastic. I had a number of interviews with him. So it's interesting because, you know, the gray aliens, it was my question, why they are taking blood and, you know, so well removed from those cows. And then in one of those interviews, I discovered that, you know, there is a theory that aliens, those gray aliens, are us from the future when we go into transhumanism form, and what they lose is a digestive system. It's an atrophy of a digestive system. And then I went to my doctor, and he is just, I always get the synchronicities, and he told me that babies are born and they have problems with digestion straight away. What's going on? So it's in the food already. So the babies are born with the problems of digestion, with, you know, having babies. So everything actually fits that theory, that gray aliens. So I mean, like, so what they are doing, they put that blood on their skin to assimilate because they don't have a digestive system anymore, right? Plus the whole program about hybridization of babies, right? I don't know if you had those dreams, but I had numbers of dreams from different times of my life that I'm taking on the ship. And of course, I'm seeing the laboratories, and they are telling me how they create babies through the, like, sort of like a cocoon. And I want to tell everybody, hey, it's real. But of course, then it's gone because I'm an astro. And giving birth to babies, like it's really happening. And I thought, like, these dreams were really nuts, right? And
but Joanna, do you think that you were some kind of abductee or something? I mean, a lot of people I've spoken to as well who say that they were abducted by aliens. They get that vision through dreaming and through getting into this lucid state.
Absolutely. You know, one of the nicest experience from that, it was when I gave birth to a baby. And the next moment he was adult, and I was told he will be a pilot, but very far away. I'm not going to see him anymore in this lifetime. And I don't have babies in reality. I don't have children. I don't have this maternity instinct at all. I'm just not meant for that. But in that dream, I had deep love for that man. And I gave him amulet for the protection when he's going to travel around, because in those dreams, in different dreams, I get like talismans, amulets, like you know, items, which of course I describe later in my books, but they have a purpose to serve, and they are hidden from others. They like a coding. So it looks like an item, but it's a code that's supposed to protect you on your journey, wherever you are, because obviously we're not living only in this lifetime. So I believe you also have those experiences, but we are going to find out.
Yeah, well, Erika, do you want to comment on some of this?
I have never had an abductee situation. Now, I have done meditations where I've had the black ops helicopters over me. You know, I'm planting crystals in the ground and doing meditation.
Erika, can I just say something? Your sound is a little low. Can you bring the sound up higher just a little bit?
How's that? Better? Is this better?
Certainly better. Yes. Thank
you. Is that better? Okay, okay. I said I've never been abducted, but I have done meditations where when I lived in the mountains in California, I was only 30 miles from Edwards Base, which is known to do a lot of the you know. So I did have black op helicopters that would be over my head. I'd start doing a meditation on, like, let's say 11:11 at 11:11, putting a big rose crystal in the ground, and I'd be doing all my meditations and such. And then within 15 minutes, I'd have a black op right over me. So I've had things like that happen. I've had a lot of astral attacks, so many that it's almost like crazy. So I do know that there is more in the unseen than the seen. That's for sure. And all you have to do is look at a cat or a dog. I was just doing a cleansing off of a friend. He came to my house and he wasn't feeling well. And he just goes, I feel off. I feel really yucky. So I was smudging him and doing the sound healing. And it was interesting as I was doing all that, my dog, which is very sweet, just got up and started like snapping at both sides of him, but not biting at him, but biting at one side of him and then the other side. So obviously something was pulling off of him. But those are the experiences I have. Or when people have died, they come to me and things like that, but not an abduction thing at all. Nothing at all like that. But I do believe in something else I want to comment on that she said, which I think is very, very important, which she saying that, you know, the dark is a very, very touchy situation because everybody just loves to hate the bad guy and go evil, 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 you know, look at what's happening. And it pains me with my heart to know that animals and children and people are suffering. But I really picture in my mind when it was all constructed by the highest source of love or God or whatever you want to call it, source, that this was a design. And I'm thinking, who would want to raise their hand and say, I'll be the bad guy, you know, I'll forget that I'm love and your son. And then I think of the story in the Bible of the prodigal son, you know, where, you know, it's the son that takes his inheritance and squanders it and has women and, you know, drugs and God knows what else. But then he comes back, and he doesn't come back to use his father. He comes back because he's humbled, and his father with open arms takes him. Of course, the other son is so jealous, saying, how dare you? I'm the good son, you know, screw him. You're killing the fatted calf for him, throwing a party. But I look at it like the day that evil, Satan, whatever, comes back to source, that will be the day of celebration, the true day of celebration, when this is all over, when no one has to ever experience this kind of depth of darkness, because I wouldn't want to be the bad guy, you know?
We're all facing duality. We have to go through it, the dark times, great times, wonderful times, and then we have to learn on focusing on happiness and joy in life and not be too pessimistic. And I think this is also an important thing to talk about in terms of people in the truth movement, because a lot of them are really very negative about what's going on. And that's understandable. We all are. We are putting this, you know, right up there to the surface and putting the spotlight on it. And it is very dark. But we also have to do what we can to be as positive and happy as possible while we are here in the middle of this horrific experience. But let's get back to that concept of happiness, because I want to ask both of you about that later. But I just want to talk about this duality. I mean, duality, do you think that it was created in order for us to be able to experience because without duality, without darkness, we would not be able to have any experiences at all, good or bad, or to know what is good if you have not experienced the bad. But then why do somebody like you, ERIKA, why did you particularly have to go through something that horrific that people can watch when they see what you went through as a child with your parents and all of that?
Well, I think again, well, and I remember being a child and going outside and saying, get me out of here to the stars. I did. And my father saw me outside talking to the stars and saying, there's no one up there, you know, and he was trying to explain to me the science behind no oxygen and freezing temperatures. And I idolized my father, but I didn't believe him. And then when he left, I kept talking to my star family, but I honestly don't think I realized how hard it was going to be here. And I've never really felt like a local. So I say that now with complete conviction. But if I'm going to pull the beauty out of all of this, I'm going to say that it is like the song Return to Innocence by Enigma, that you return to innocence, you come out of battle like Forrest Gump. You know, I mean, they played Forrest Gump like he was, you know, like not very the smartest chip in, you know, book on the shelf, but he was brilliant, like Gomer Pyle. You know, these are very similar characters. They live from the heart. They live in the moment. The purity in their essence is so pure that it always manifests, even in the darkest of darkest things. The good manifests out of it. Like when Forrest Gump went into battle, he's a hero. He's saving people. He's not afraid to die. His heart is so big. It's all about love, 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 love. And I know that from rescuing animals. I have taken animals that nobody wants. And boy, let me tell you, with that, your heart, you feel your heart grow. And then that child within is growing. And it seems that no matter what, the darkness cannot hold that same space. It's like this ring, the yin yang. It's separate. You know, you got a dark dot in each one, but it's ultimately, I really believe, the more light you hold, the more it just squelches the dark. And I really just pray, really with all my heart, that one day we will all just be in everlasting beauty and love and joy, because we already know what the darkness is, so we can embrace what it is to be happy and joyful, and embrace the child within. Let the child be reborn. Let that be the true meaning of being born again. Let the
But do
child
you think that
be
you
reborn.
signed that soul contract before going back here? Reincarnation, we're talking about, obviously, when you had to go through all of that violence and terror as a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really did feel like I walked into like one of the darkest families that was so possessed. Every one of them. I mean, I hate to say this, because if my family ever watches this, I do have 2 sisters and a younger brother that are still alive. They will probably be insulted. But the truth of the matter is like, you know, I had a brother that hurt animals and mutilated animals, and he would set me up. Like I'd be sleeping in bed. I was young, and he'd put dirty socks on my bed, and I'd wake up to my mother stuffing the socks down my throat, like literally almost killing me with socks in my throat. You know, it was things like that I'd have like another sister. I'd be 104 temperature, and my mother would hear me. I'd put the radio on soft to just listen, and my sister would see me, my mother beating me because I put the radio on, and she'd be laughing. So, you know, when I figured I came here, I thought it was to hold light and be so loving towards my family. But actually what happened was they all turned on me. And it was like, even when my mother died in 2009, it's like, you know, I had my younger brother threatening to shoot me in the face because I was putting makeup on my mom and fixing her hair, and I was coddling her. And then later I found out, they said, well, they thought you were going to murder her to take her out of her misery. And I'm thinking, what? You know, I rescue animals and keep them alive as long as I can. Why would I do that? I mean, I loved my mother, as abusive as she was, but I figure I kept my bargain. You know, I loved everyone in my family. So if there was a contract, I upheld it to the very end. And then I really feel like it was done when my mother passed away. And on her deathbed, she was in a coma, but I said to her, I love you. It's all forgiven. And when she passed away, when her body started getting a little bit stiff, it was because her pillow suddenly looked like it had a little like sprouts of light around it from the indent. And then she got a little smile on her face, and her whole face just softened, and she looked angelic. And nothing could have made me happier than that, to just see her die in such peace and let go with a peace. So, you know, again, perspective. I could have been angry. I could have been like, I'm not going to be at her bedside, you know, but my brothers and sisters still hate me. I don't know what I've ever done, but they just don't like me. They never did, even when I was a little tiny tot. They never.
Yeah, but they also
went
through a lot of psychological trauma, and we also went into all of that. So it was very, very toxic and quite satanic. But why do you think, Joanna, that they're using this method on the human race and have done that for eons, for such a long time? Why Satanism? Why this darkness? We have a beautiful planet. We can connect beautifully and wonderfully to so many people. Love is actually a real thing. And the heart is beautiful when it feels something that resonates and is wonderful. I mean, why do the elite want to dumb us down, to calcify our pineal gland and take away our superpowers, really?
It's very dangerous, hard planet, right, to go through, but interesting, because I probably will add to what ERIKA is saying here. It's so important what you said. I don't remember now everything, because it's like I want to add instantly to you. But duality, when I was getting access through my meditation visions and actually talking to those entities, and one of demonic entities actually came through the client and told me the man had a terrible headaches, and told me like he actually is a demon. And you know, so he told me in that session that they have no choice. So they are jealous because we have choice. We have light and darkness within us, but they have to be bad. It's like, you know, everybody got a role, and they are immortal. You know, when I'm writing books, I have this download of information from entities, and I never say it like I'm channeling entity and I'm putting it down, because I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination. But what's interesting, one of them, immortals, they told me that I would like to be mortal because my progress is slower than you. You get to forget. You have reincarnations. You get to forget. I remember being abused. That was Nefertiti, Nephthys from the Egypt. And yeah, and I remember the abuse, and you can forget. You can have another life. You have this in your maybe DNA, or you remember, you tap into something, but you can just put it aside. I can't. So the progress of immortals, immortal beings, they told me it's slower. Plus, they don't get a free will if they are demonic beings. They just like angelic. Some of the people told me that angelic beings are not so fun at all. Some of them. The celestials can be really cruel because they are fixated of good, justice, and bad. So they can also slay someone just because it was bad. We don't know that. We don't know anything for sure. But there was some part also. I work with some angels, some archangels, and I was asking Archangel Michael. Someone just called me and asked me if I'm okay inviting few angels for a few days to my household. And I say, what is that? So I say, okay, let them in, come in, and we talk. So they came for a few days. It was very nice. And then their energy was gone at the moment that it was told. Like they go and make the work for people through household. So that was interesting. And I wanted to experience that. And there was this Archangel Michael. And I said, so So tell me, Archangel Michael, what is your sword really about? Can you show me this? And he put me on the rock. And when he slayed something, it is like the tower, like you, ERIKA, mentioned at the beginning, the tarot cards. Everything will collapse. So sometimes when we see evil forces, like something is collapsing in the world, maybe it's not really a demonic force. We don't know. We need to get deeper. Who is doing for that? Because if not, everything what happened, we would not wake up. A lot of us will still be in a, oh, the world is nice, let's make it work. And only black sheeps of the families, that's what I'm hearing here from you, ERIKA, they get to see the truth straight away because they know there is something wrong with the world. That cannot happen this way. And I always had that. I can very well relate to your experiences. I was having different kind of abuse, but I can relate straight away that there is something wrong with this world and nobody sees that. That was my thing as a child, as a teenager, as, you know, we are told, make money. We are, every one of us is thrown into money thing, power of money. And this is very evil because we lose our souls. We are disconnecting ourselves for money because if not money, we cannot have apartment, food, and so on.
And then you become a slave to the system.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Slavery
depend on the system.
Yeah, exactly. So coming back to what you actually asked, Lucas, about these evil forces, when I would tell actually about that creature, because I think it's pretty well done through my book, and it's about Abraxas, and it was a Persian king. That's how he introduced himself. I Googled him later on when I had this scary being at home. And
but can I just jump in, because the audience need to know a little bit about you, what your experiences are here. You are a channeler or a clairvoyant, or how would you describe why you're having all of these downloads or visions or experiences?
That's what other people can tell about me. I don't know exactly. I wouldn't like to box myself maybe in one thing, because I always thought it's my imagination. But apparently, it had impact always on my life. So I can go into dream and I can change if someone is sick. And I don't do it consciously sometimes. Sometimes it's conscious dream, but sometimes I don't know who's going to come into my dream. It's always someone I care about. I can get this feeling, visions. I read tarot because tarot is very revealing, very quickly, very revealing. And then by the command. So you can say that I have this download. Somehow I know exactly what to do, but I was also trained. It came later that I combined both the science of it and the download, because first it was just happening and I didn't know what's happening. I go into dream, I get access to ancient Egypt, it's fun, I'm writing a story, everything cool. But then synchronicity happens and this has impact on my life here. So
did you have those experiences during the day or being awake? Or is it basically or only during the night when you're in the sleep state?
Both, all the time. I basically should not go out to people too much, all the time. I can touch someone, I can sleep in someone's house and I can tell you if they have ghosts or not. What is the energy there? What clearing has to be done? And I never considered myself as a really like a specialist. There are no schools for that. I mean, nowadays, yes, but not every school is good. And there's a lot of, you know, other problems with those schools that people tell me later on that they are really not only taking money, but also energy from those people. So that's interesting, but that's another story. But just to give you an idea, so it has impact on my life, because I see that I was in ancient Egypt doing manipulation on slaves, genetic manipulation on slaves. And that was really creeping me out. And then I went to my friend and I said, you know, I had a weird dream. I really don't understand. I had this, you know, zombie, and he has this white eyes, and apparently I did it to him. It's very bad. And my friend had a guest who got really scared of me. And my psychic friend started to laugh and said, you were that zombie, you were that slave that time. So, you know, when you connect with people who also see, you can put this together, because I didn't believe at first that is true. It was just a glimpse. So other times, like recently, there was some energy from a man, and I had this pulling, like really pulling me. The day is beautiful, sun, and everything is fine, but I feel this heaviness and pull. And I went into energy. I became that pull. And it was very strong power element of the earth that is creation. It's just this man probably doesn't know about it yet. I have to tell him later. Because, you know, we experience powerful emotions, and these, if not integrated to us, are powers that can kill us emotionally, giving us panic attacks, nightmares at night. But these are parts, that darkness within us, that seeks solutions. So it's like a magic of chaos. If we learn how to integrate that chaos within us step by step, then
this is certainly a personal, let's say, ability, or an ability that you have, that you experience, that for you is absolutely the truth. But why do you think that the world today, and for eons, for such a long time, have been controlled by these dark, well, demonic entities, or maybe AI, or related to that bigger AI computer thing that may be way bigger than what we know is human-made today, or the reptilian takeover a lot of people talk about, having been in control of the earth for such a long time? Why the earth? Why do you think we are controlled by this? Because everything is upside down every time they talk about something in the media or in science, medically, whatever. Everything is upside down. Every truth they say is a truth is not the truth. You can turn it upside down and then you'll see the truth. Then you'll have the truth. Why are we living in such a pseudo reality?
Lack of free will. They're not free. If we see that they are elite, they are not free. They are bound very deeply. This is what they told me, of course, in those visions, that they are bound. Take Britney Spears, for example. She was never free. There was a big story about it. People are saying that she actually is not there anymore. That's actually a deep fake, whatever we see right now. Recently, I was on a concert of Beyonce, and you can say that she's promoting transhumanism. I went through the whole story. I had so many visions when I look at that story that it's incredible. I actually made a show for Polish people about it. There was such a meaningful signs, like they are giving us signs, but I sense that this is something is hidden, under there is some additional layer. So from one side, they are doing that bad stuff, but from the other side, they are seeking release. That's what ERIKA mentioned, that there will be this salvation day. They are seeking for something too. They are trapped as everybody else. They have hierarchy. They are like this Persian king, Abraxas. He actually was seeking freedom. He was seeking to leave because he was cursed by Catholic Church as a demon. He was a king in a history. So if we take now Catholicism and what power they have, they actually were doing in a history curses. They were cursing people. They were cursing lands. There was.
And this is what they're still doing on humanity, basically, putting a dark spell there and putting, let's say, a collective mind control, state of awareness, consciousness being, well, it's frequency control, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So you see, the problem is that we cannot free ourselves so easily, and we maybe are here on, we think we are on the lowest position because we don't have a means, we don't have power, we don't have enough money for it. But everybody who is in it on the top, I get a sense that they are more trapped than we are, because they're going to lose not only money, they're going to lose their souls and life and be trapped somewhere there for much longer than we are. We get free pass to leave from here. They don't.
What do you think about that, Erika? That the elite, some of those bad people on top of the so-called hierarchy, that they will not get a free pass, that they will not be, let's say, saved, even though they think they will be by putting all of these things out for us to see. And if we don't see it, then, you know, it's too bad. Then they can just do it. And then they think, oh, we allowed them to do all of this to us. What are your thoughts on that? What Joanna just said?
Well, I mean, for one, I think everyone's truth is truth, you know, so I don't think anybody's ever right or wrong. I think that she's completely accurate from her perspective. I just kind of look at it like there was a white and black brotherhood in Atlantis, you know, and Atlantis came out of Lemuria. And I think that this brotherhood works together even today. I think that there are white people from the white brotherhood in the government, maybe not as many. I don't think it's a complete hijack of the dark brotherhood. And from what I understand, they do love each other, even though it's a very toxic thing to watch the dark kind of running amok. But I just really, in all my heart of hearts, I really believe the prodigal son story. I believe that God is in everything, and God will, at one moment, just take that darkness out of these dark souls.
Why is the world controlled by these dark forces? Why doesn't God intervene immediately, or the good aliens that we've waited for so long?
Yes, I think that, again, who knows how, when something starts getting taken over, like if someone's had a heroin addict in the family, or like, let's say we all loved Elvis Presley, and before our eyes, we watched him just basically kill himself with drugs, you know, and his relationship fall apart. And then it almost went into his daughter, like the sins of the forefathers continued in the DNA. And I pray
but maybe they also did that to him. You know, those people, those handlers that were controlling Elvis's career. We hear about that as well.
Yeah. But, you know, I think that, again, we're talking something so massive because, again, when you were talking about the sun being blocked, the sun is the download of information of light, you know, the photon light, us being in the photon belt. I mean, they're blocking this. So it's like they're playing about as dirty as they can get. I cannot even imagine what it is to be in a war-torn country or North Korea, where there's cannibalizing on each other because they're starving, and we know nothing about it. It's not on the news at all because the news is controlled, the pharmaceuticals controlled, the food is controlled, the air is controlled, the water is controlled. I mean, we're watching whales get beached out with sonar. And you know, when I listen to, I'm kind of going off topic, but I'll just kind of go with.
No, you're not going off topic. You're going. You're not going off topic. You're going directly into the whole topic. Please do go on.
So, you know, when I think of people, because I have friends that they keep going with the guns and, you know, the packing and the storing, and, oh my God, I've got a friend with a plane, I'm going to go to an island. I said, but yeah, that's all out of fear, you know, and you're trying to find a solution out of fear, which, for one, the government is probably 100,000 years, if not more, ahead of what we can even conceive. So with 5G towers everywhere and the whole web around the earth, if they want to kill us in one clean shot, all they'd have to do is take the frequency, like they blow the whales out of the water with frequency. So obviously they want us alive for a reason. Obviously we are some sort of an energy source of food, but maybe it could be that Whatever divine force is overseeing all of it. We don't know, is it Anu, Ini, Inki, Enlil? You know, who is the one that oversees this planet from a higher perspective? I mean, they talked about the Titans. Were those the demigods? Is there a God that oversees the demigods? You know, I think this is way bigger than we can even imagine. But if I'm going to imagine the 0 point and the toroidal field and the 0 point, and we are all in that 0 point right now, it's like, what are you going to feed? The fear or the love? Are you going to pop up into the next high realm, or are you going to like be in fear, sucked into the abyss, like a dream I had where the whole floor fell out and everybody was falling? And as soon as I said, I'm not dying like that, I stopped falling. And then I was floating like this, and then I heard little giggles back here, and I looked and there were little orbs, and I got sucked into an orb, and then I had the Kundalini experience. So to me, I think to myself, it's as simple as saying, I'm not buying into that. Now, we're talking about money. Money's part of the black magic construct. You know, all of it is a construct of the dark brotherhood. They've thought it all out with the symbolism, with the money, with the food, with the drugs, with the, now the AI is another construct of the dark brotherhood. So it's just, the less we empower it by not thinking about it, you know, I mean, I think we have to be aware of it. But if we can focus on what we want to create through love, and we say, as she was talking earlier, Joanna was saying, you know, unified, we can do anything because we're creators. So I think that the whole purpose of this roundtable talk is, how do we come together and get that strength and that meditation where, say, nothing is coming into this field of love, nothing. We are going to blast this into such the stratosphere of love, but that means each person cleans their temple. Each person cleans their diet, their thoughts, their intentions, their actions. Everything has to be impeccable. Turn the 7 sins into 7 virtues. We have got to do it individually. And then in individuals, our candle is so bright, our light is so bright, when it unifies, it's going to blast everything. But it's each person has to do it in themselves first. And I say, don't even rely on a psychic. Don't rely on a guru. Don't rely on a religion. Find it within yourself. Close those eyes and you find that light within yourself. Don't give your power to anyone. And people who are rescuing people that are lost, I really believe there's a point to take the training wheels off. They've got to start paddling their own boat, they got to do it themselves, build that spiritual muscle. Because I think when you rescue someone, you take on their karma too. You not only take their lesson from them, but there's a point where you do have to back off, let the person grow, let them swim, let them learn. Be there if they need a life vest, but do not do the swimming and paddling for them.
That's so true what you're saying, and also about doing the hard work yourselves and cleansing yourself and going towards the light and taking charge of your own actions and your life and what you want in life, and attract what you want, and all of what you just said really beautifully there. But if these dark forces who's been controlling the planet for such a long time are still pushing this end game, the implementation of the New World Order through different satanic means, and this whole climate change agenda before the AI and connected to the whole AI total control situation, if they're going to do this 10-minute, creating those 10-minute cities, for example, or 15-minute cities, what good does it do to us to be cleansed? And I'm standing my own light, I don't want to do this or that, if we're trapped within these, let's say, 10-minute walls, Erika, and then I can ask you, Joanna. First, Erika.
I was going to say, pass it to Joanna first.
Oh, that was a loaded. Well, we can do that, and then you can think about it, Erika. What do you want?
Because I went so long, so I'd like to ping pong it off of Joanna.
No, but okay, Joanna. So, I mean, what Erika said about us standing in our truth and all of these things and doing the hard work, this is what we need to do anyway, and clear out the addictions and all of that. But what if we are in this world, we are on this planet, we're in the middle of this havoc and all these things being done to us. And if we find ourselves in the middle of a 10-minute city because of this whole climate change thing and the possible climate change lockdown that they're planning on doing. What good is it that we're standing in our own light, do you think?
May I first address just a little bit what Erika said about those healing, because it's so important to not follow anyone but yourself, any guru, and clearing your own thing, because that is actually that is connected to what you just asked me first about what we're gonna do. Because if we are in self, we are not going to be so scared, because we are also connected to other people, seeing them as our mirror. So if one person gives an order, hey, you have to go to 8 minutes, whatever city, whatever marvelous story that is, we are standing together and saying, no, thank you. So it's about not consciously accepting the offer. We do not think that this is an offer. We take it as an order because we are programmed to take it as an order. But you know, if someone comes to my life and scares me, I attempt at least to put myself on the other side. So you are bringing me fear, so I'm scared, like I'm gonna put you in the, I don't know, wardrobe, and I'm gonna close you there. And then we start a dialogue. Why would you do that? So it's also negotiation skills, something that we can calm it down. Because if someone comes with fear because he's scared, oh my God, you're ruining my climate, right? That role. Then I say, why are you so scared? What is really scaring you? So we are allowing for the dialogue, negotiation, and we're standing together strongly. Many times I am also sometimes, you know, like allowing this panic to get me. And when I sense within myself, oh my God, I'm in panic right now, I go and withdraw. And I pray, like you, Erika, I pray. I say, I'm in panic right now. Let's get into panic consciously, right? Because panic has a message that I got scared by something. So if I embrace myself, if I understand, I can see that this is not my panic. This is panic of the elite, of the people who were programmed, who they don't know what they are doing. And we just gave them power because we are in the program that we take orders. We have government, and government orders us stupid things to do. But if we take it a different way, hey, thank you for your kind offer, but why would you do that to me? Don't you think that's bad for my health, right? So we start to have a dialogue. What we're doing, we are going to win time. So for example, with the blocking sun, people already, as far as I know, in the United States, they are already writing petitions. They say, we want more answers. So write 300 questions and let them answer before they're gonna launch that. That's
but regular people, Joanna, they believe that the weather is the weather. It's happening organically. It's the universe. It's all the clouds around the planet, and all of it is natural and not man-made. They, of course, will point fingers at you and at us for saying and calling us conspiracy theorists. And of course, there's no technology that can create the weather. But if they create the weather, and they do that purposely in order to justify climate change, lockdowns, and taking your freedom away, controlling you and restricting you even further, and wanting you freely to give your power away and all of your luxuries and whatever little luxuries you have, like running water or whatever, and everything has to be controlled. I mean, this is everybody will believe, oh my God, we have to do this to save the planet. So how can you negotiate with let's say it's a police officer standing there saying, you cannot do this and that, you cannot go outside more than, you can only shop in that supermarket and then all of the money will be controlled as well, like Chinese, the whole Chinese system there with social credit system.
Of course, more and more people have to wake up. That's obvious. But I can tell you what I was doing, and when we connected with Polish people, what we were doing during the lockdowns. We had to wear, you know.
We know what you mean.
Yes, exactly. So I was doing crazy things that time because the police officer was saying me, go home, immediately go home. And I was sitting and meditating close to the river and say, why would I do that? It freaked him out, of course. Of course, they want to give you, you know, fine and everything for that. But of course, I try to reason and I try to, that's my way, asking as many questions as possible. Say, hey, you are just like me. Why? And I sensed fear from them. You know, there were 2 police officers that wanted to write me fine. But I was asking them questions. I was feeling unscared. They were terribly shaking. I was shaking. It was a terrible situation. And I kept going, asking questions. I even called my friend and said, hey, would you please ask them more questions? Because I don't know what else I can ask. So they could not make it. They called for 2 more officers. They had really problems. So it's the ability from our side to face it. And I'm not a very courageous person. Seriously, I'm not doing that very often. I'm not so courageous, but anytime I can step out a little bit with my fear, I would try to ask those questions because I believe on the other side, there are human beings equally scared, unaware, not awakened yet. And very often in my life, that one question changed everything. That one question, if I find this right question to someone, I believe that can change. With another police officer, I didn't wear it and I didn't want to get another fine. So I put it out, you know what I put it out from, and I drop it on the floor and I say, oh, do you want me to put that on my face right now? Right? So I ask them a question that will, they will say, of course not, this is dirty now. I don't have another one. What shall I do now? What do you recommend me? Right?
So it's about let's say, manipulating your way in and out of a situation, standing your truth, being brave enough to face people, being courageous, and be a little bit sharp, know your, and you need to have done your research, certainly, to be, in order to be able to communicate it to people who are totally unaware. What are your thoughts on that, Erika? Is that how we have to deal with things in the future?
I think ultimately, probably what's on all our minds and our hearts is that worst case scenario. If, let's just say, we are overwhelmed and it comes at us like a tsunami, and we're meant to go through the valley of darkness. Let's just say, to confront whatever it is. What came to mind as this conversation was going on right here at the end was Miguel Ruiz's book, Beyond Fear. There's a story he tells that when he went into meditation, he was put in a pyramid by a master, and he said, you're going to be sealed in the pyramid. When you can read the hieroglyphs, you can leave. Well, of course, when the thing's sealed, he was in pitch black, and he immediately said he felt like anxiety and facing every of his worst nightmares, like, I'm going to die in here. I'm never going to read these hieroglyphs. And he said that time felt like suddenly it was endless, but then he just released it. And when he released it, he just went, it's okay. This is it. This is my. And then the hieroglyphs came to life, and then they started talking and communicating with them. And suddenly he was like, he could figure them all out. He was so excited. And then the master came in, and he couldn't wait to tell the master what the hieroglyphs said. But the master said, no, that's okay. You can leave now. So what I took out of that story was, as soon as we face our darkest hour, could be the 0 point again. But as soon as we are not afraid to face that dragon, that bear, whatever that thing is that we're so afraid of, the demon, as soon as we can face it. Now I think of Merlin. Was it Merlin in Lord of the Rings when he faced that big fiery dragon that came out of the abyss? And he said, "Thou shalt not pass."
Well,
and
that's Gandalf. I don't think Merlin
Gandalf.
Was in Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
But druids, druids and magicians and, the wizards, they were all the same. And it's interesting to me because I guess that was his biggest fear, was that dragon that came up right before him. And then, of course, as you know, the tail came up and switched him and took him into the abyss. But then he arose, an ascension. So I feel that is us. But
that's a very good way of saying it, explaining it, Erika. That Gandalf moment where he's shouting that. That is actually really that little moment that, in a nutshell, what people should do also metaphysically and in their minds and also, in front of people, if it comes to that and when it comes to that, I suppose. But this darkness outside, when we consider ourselves to be, awakened and aware and quite enlightened, having researched all of these things for so many years and gone through a lot and having spoken to amazing people. But a lot of people are not awake. It's like what we even mentioned before, we're living on two different timelines here. And we're on one timeline. A lot of people, even we know in our family and friends and colleagues, whatever, are on that other timeline. And it's becoming increasingly more and more difficult to connect with these people, to communicate with them, and to find mutual understanding. That's going to be even more difficult in the future, right? Or how do we bridge those two worlds if we can? We're on the same planet, right? Erika first.
It's like two different radio stations, and one's caught in the static and the other one's like on a clear channel. Until one turns that dial, raises that frequency up, you will be in harmony. Or you can look at it as singing. You have to have harmony in a song, or it sounds like ouch, So it's as simple as that. And I think that people that aren't there, that the most that we can do is it's interesting, like if we ascend, are we the next archangels? Are we the ones then that come and take care of our little brothers that got still in 3D? Is that how it works? Is it like an upgrade? Because I also did have a dream that I was an archangel, and I don't share that too much because it sounds so absolutely crazy, but I was massive wings, and I was in New York, and I was in it looked like Gotham City actually, but I went up into a scaffolding, and there were people that saw me and then were trying to shoot at me, and it was kind of ridiculous. But then I saw Archangel Michael hanging out, and I started laughing. I said, "What are you doing here?" And it was just a strange dream, and I never forgot it because I was androgynous. I wasn't male, but I felt more male than I did female, but I think I was completely androgynous. But again, is that some version of me in the future? What was that? I've never had anything of me being an insect or something, but I think that whoever doesn't make this ascension, it's okay. It's not that you failed. It's not that you're less. We're all equal. It's just that we probably have already been at this level of grime for so long that this time when we came in, we said, this time I'm ascending. I'm going to the next level. So I just don't think there's a right or wrong or feeling sorry for somebody, and no need to panic, because it's all natural. Everything has a natural flow, and to really trust in that. You have to trust in you being part of divinity, and that there is no mistakes, there are no accidents, there's no reason to give into this construct of this illusion of fear.
So maybe we should really actually consider ourselves really lucky that we are living on this planet, on this particular timeline during this very, very difficult, dark, crucial, but also these changing times that will go down in history. I think future generations will look back at this particular time as something really, really unique and different, and huge polarity and change. And Joanna, what are your thoughts on this dualism and these two timelines that we're on, and whether it's maybe a good thing, this whole great reset?
It is a good thing in a way, of course. But one thing that I learned from martial arts is that the mastery of the fight, learning to be a great fighter, is not about going into fight, but avoiding the fight. So avoiding the war. I absolutely believe in bridging and understanding and communicating with those who are on the other side. And I know that I give this maybe impression like it's a manipulative ways, but it's not about manipulating for my own benefit. I'm trying to find creative ways to influence someone who is maybe doing me unconsciously harm. So I need to protect myself, but it doesn't mean I have to attack, you know? So I'm trying to always ask the questions to those people. I'm not going to fight them, because they are very strong in their mind that everything what happened was good, they took it, it helped them, they are immune, you know. I know those people, a lot of those people from the other side. I do not reject them. I know that everyone the more aggressive someone is, or the worst person in the world is coming to me and is nasty, very often I discover their enormous fear and unhappiness. So, you know, and they do that because, and they are very often, they are addicted to something. They do not have a connection to their own feelings. They following the agenda because they have good contracts, they have great money, they don't want to lose it. So they're going to block any information to not see the truth. That's obvious. Everyone would do that. You know, imagine you have this great residence, I don't know, in Hollywood, whatever, and you just have to play along and your life will be beautiful, right? So you don't want to lose it. You don't want to give attention. I'm trying to understand them first, but we need them. We need those people with means to wake up. Hello, everyone, wake up. We are here. We are going to help you. Help us. You know, it's the bridging. We need each other's, I think.
So the Great Reset is actually necessary, you think? Not, yes. I mean, and even all of the bad stuff that we know we are facing during this timeline, it's not a time for being lazy, for sure. No. I mean, and for those who don't wake up, maybe it's a different path, but certainly we have to work. We cannot just sit back, us who are aware of what is going on. But I mean, so bravery is the big thing, really, to stand in your truth here, and the reset is needed, huh, Joanna?
Reset is needed, I think. It's just my opinion, but you know, if someone tells me now, look, I don't agree with you and reset is not necessary, I will follow that also to understand, because of course it's a polarity. It is necessary and it's not necessary for those who are aware. So it's not for everyone. There's like no one particular answer for everyone the same.
ERIKA, you knew, we talked about this on the last show. You knew a gentleman very well who was working with the American government, who had also been in England, and who said he knew, like a lot of people in the truth movement, like David Icke and a lot of people, that these, let's say, presidents or people working within the government, they were actually reptilian. So are they still here? Will all of that change? Will they expire and go to whatever world or die, or I mean, if they are, as David Icke says, shapeshifters, we will believe that they're here and they are real people. But what are your thoughts on that? Because if they're still having the mask on, so to speak, then we don't know that they're really here, huh?
Well, I haven't talked to him since he stayed at my place a month, and then he disappeared. So I have no idea what happened to him. So I don't know at this point what's going on anymore. But he did kind of confirm all these changes that are happening right now. He said everything would be upside down. But as you were talking, the same thing, I got another visual, which was massive geometry and just us swirling inside of the geometry and really releasing, because it's naturally going to take us with the flow with our frequency. So I just felt everything just moving without effort, like you could say, like a mighty river taking you. You know, the only effort that I say is, you know, be the witness, because ultimately we are just really witnessing us in this biosuit. We are witnessing from above. We are having this experience in this realm. So I say release and witness, and make the right choices. That is what just keeps coming to mind out of, if I'm here for this show, what the message that I keep feeling so strongly is to really return the sins into virtue, because that is the frequency that's going to pop you upward in this frequency river, you know, of sacred geometry that we are in, you know, because in the scheme of all that is, we're minuscule, but then we're everything. So when I popped in that orb, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, it was just, how did I fit in the orb? I don't, you know, like, how do you fit in the body? Because when you experience everything, you're like, how is that little biosuit? So I think, like you said, like, we make effort, but not really. I think the only effort we make is make wise choices. When you're really traumatized, because, you know, suicide, I think I really wanted to talk about suicide the last show, because I was just, even after my awakening, I became suicidal because I got involved in a bad relationship. And I made choices that I thought, oh, this is my twin flame, you know, and I started really going, this is the one I've been waiting for. And I basically self-destructed my whole animal rescue, my career, my house, my ranch. He had nothing. I sold everything. So I had to start over, you know, it's such a long story, but basically you can think you're enlightened and still make a stupid choice. And ultimately I had to just really sit with my pain and say, okay, I'm responsible for the choices. Was this a karmic contract, whatever? But what saved me was releasing, witnessing. I just stepped out and I said, okay, I'm witnessing all this pain. Yes, I feel it in my body and everything, but ultimately I have got to turn this into an alchemical moment, turn this pain of being in the fire into gold. And I think all of us, ultimately, that's all we can do.
So all the bad energies and the bad entities that might be working with the government or portraying themselves as being real people, they will also expire. Do you think, or how can we get rid of all of that? I mean, what you said was a beautiful thing, a very personal story, but in the bigger picture, I mean, if what we see is not really the truth and the real thing, it's almost like what we talk about AI. Now they can make holograms and they can make an AI character of you or whoever. And Elvis is going on tour, right? Again in 2023. Wow, we can all get to see him as a hologram though. But I mean, this is where we are. Suddenly, we don't even need the actors and the singers and all of that, because they just go on tour as holograms. And but I mean, this is a way of. This is almost like saying these people are under a mask, like the guy you knew that told you as well that they were actually reptilian shapeshifters.
Mm-hmm.
So get rid of them.
I didn't sleep for a week when he told me, but I said, don't hold back, just lay it on me. I want to know. And the thing is that, you know, Dolores Cannon used to say, you know, you can't give a baby steak, so you have to be careful what you talk about. Now your channel, I think everybody's ready for steak, but you know, it's just, or I should make it a vegetarian steak. But anyway, I think that ultimately, if any kind of, let's just say the worst of the worst of the worst thing plays out. Okay, let's just say AI takes over and we're living in a world like Terminator or Blade Runner or Road Warrior. Let's just say the worst of the worst. Okay, what are you going to do? You take every moment and you make the best choice you can. There's people that lived through the Holocaust that are just embracing love like never before. Now they lived through hell. There's people that survived and escaped Korea that come out and they're just so positive and loving and going for their career and getting other people out. I mean, ultimately, no matter where you are, just make the decision to take the higher road, no matter how painful it is, because we don't know how powerful this force is. But all I know is if we are sacred geometry, okay, if we are in this sacred geometry energy field, it is a moment of ascension. And that's all. I'm trusting in that. And I'm trusting in myself to make the best choices as a human being. And trust me, I put more love out in the world. I can't possibly put any more love out than I do. But it starts with yourself first. Love yourself. And it's
true that everything is sacred geometry, right? And numerology, astrology, it's all connected really with energy frequencies and vibration, like Tesla said. But Joanna, how would you define or explain the concept of happiness and how to find happiness in this mad upside down world where basically everything they're announcing and saying as an official narrative is a lie? I mean, what is happiness? How can we find it and live through all of this and being happy from now on? Because that is really what we all want. But what is happiness really, Joanna?
I call it bliss. I call it when you are awakened. Maybe there are some awakening phases, points, and it's a grace to receive it. It's in a connection to something really profound, higher intelligence beyond everything, and it's granted. It's like I could not imagine that I just work hard, meditate hard, and get it. But just for this one day when I also had suicidal thoughts, like Erika, you said about yours, I can so much relate to you. I had this idea, I'm going to meditate myself out of the body because I'm really not a suicidal type. So I did this procedure from Kriya Yoga. And I was doing not like 3 rounds just to have health, but I did, maybe I was sitting 3 hours and really pushing my breath hard. What happened? I didn't leave the body. I started to feel enormous happiness. I started to shine. And for months, I was going to people. Everybody thought that I'm in love, that I have everything. And how am I doing? Everybody wanted to inquire, you know, what did I do? I had nothing that time. I had no job, no money. I didn't have an apartment. I was having second immigration in my life. And I had absolutely nothing. I just had synchronicity and given myself to this power. That's happiness for me. And I prayed basically to one master, like, you know, those Himalayan masters are giving us direction. Maybe they were gurus, teachers once, but they always directing people to themselves. I'm not talking about, you know, current, you know, worldly gurus and so on. I'm talking about those real Himalayan masters that maximum students, they had 10 people. Because, as you said, they take karma of those students on themselves. They work this through, they burn it with them. And in their scripts, it's said that if you do this Kriya Yoga, you burn your karma with the fire of breath, you burn it. So this is what I accidentally was doing that time. I didn't know, because I was having apparently another intention, but I was intensely happy. And nothing in this world makes sense for me of doing. That's what I learned from that experience. If I don't feel that inspiration, happiness, and that feeling, if I do something and I have fear, attack of panic, I stop. I learned to stop, because if I don't stop, I will land sick. And I already know that because I landed sick. I was in the hospital because I was pushing things. And so it's very important to follow that inner bliss within yourself and do things that make us happy as long as possible and expand with that frequency very, very often. And the rest is offered. The rest is grace. So we give hand up. And if we lucky, if we pray for it, if we do our part, apparently they are there to catch us and lead us, those higher intelligence or the quantum field or universe, however you believe it. And I always wanted to experience other masters, but I never did one particular master, Lahiri Mahasaya. And a few months ago, when everything was upside down with the world and, you know, there was a lot of fear, he came to me. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. But he came only for 3 days. And he was giving me lessons and telling me, first one, I remember now 2. I don't remember everything, I'm sorry. But one is what Erika said. That's why I'm talking about it right now, because I think it's synchronicity. Raise your frequency every day. It's very crucial now for the next months. Keep raising your frequency. You are down, you're feeling bad. No, sit and raise your frequency. Pray, do everything what is in your power. I have chills right now when I'm saying that. The second one, he was testing me, second day, if I can find him. Can you find my pattern of energy? And he showed me. I cannot explain how that happened. He showed me how easily they can hide from ourselves, and they are found when they want to be found. So it's really, they are watching us. When we are ready, they give us hand. We're not alone.
Mm-hmm. And Erika, your thoughts on happiness from now on? I mean, happiness now, happiness in the future. What is happiness for you, and what do you think it can be for people?
Just look at a baby animal or a baby puppy and look at the shiny, beautiful eye and the innocence. So I say return to innocence, that's happiness, but have the wisdom as the foundation. And gratitude in everything.
Would you consider yourself happy now after all of what you've gone through, the ups and downs? Where are you now on that journey?
Okay. Let me give you the most honest answer I can, okay? Happiness is really honestly such a choice, because I have to make the choice every day to happiness, because I could go either way. I mean, I'm sitting right there in the middle. So I'm not, I've talked to some people that are enlightened and they're so airy-fairy that I want to punch them in the face. You know, have you ever had that where it's like everything's love, love, love? I'm like, damn, you know, and I'm not a violent person, but it gets on my nerves because I'm like, you know, come on, you know, get a little grounded here. You know what I mean? You know, it's okay to be airy-fairy, but let's get gritty too. You know what I mean? So I feel that I have my feet I mean, every day I'm mucking stalls and cleaning horse shit and cleaning up dog doo-doo and cat litter boxes. And I mean, my hands are shot because I do my own horse trims and, you know, I get up on my roof and I work. So when I'm working really hard, sometimes I swear I'm laughing because I'm like, this sucks, you know, but then, you know, it's like I have to look at that I have a strong body, that I have a clear mind, that I have a beautiful heart. So again, I'm not going to sit here and tell people, oh, as soon as you choose light, it all gets sunshiny. I sound like George Carlin. But you know, the truth of the matter is, you're living in duality. So it's always keep it in perspective, and not realize that it's a choice, and you have to always just take the high road and be strong for yourself, make the right choices, you know? So I'm not going to say I'm super happy. I'm just saying I live with gratitude and embrace everything that I can, and pick the choices of good people, and give my love to the things that love me and that I can love. But I'm not going to rescue anybody at this point. Now, if somebody comes to me and says, I'm interested in what you have to say, great. But if I start looking at their eyes, and that judgment's going around, and I can tell they're going to turn around like the pearls before swine, lest they turn and render you. That's happened to me more times than I can tell you. I know I've been called crazy time and time again. And I know, Joanna, I'm sure it's happened to you. And Lucas, I'm sure it's happened to you too. I mean, it's just that this is the part of wearing that hat. But I would say, I'm sorry, it's such a long question, but it's a hard one to answer, because we're living in duality, and I'm always finding balance in that. You know, like 5 years ago, I was suicidal again, you know? So I came out of it. I'm living with strength again, and I've come out, but now I'm much more humble, because I thought once I was awake, I thought those days were gone. I didn't think I'd ever have those thoughts again. So it humbled the crap out of me. I have to tell you, it just, you know,
and
I
do you
never
think
thought,
on a personal level, Erika, that it's been like therapy for you to actually talk about your life circumstances and all of the things you went through, because it took you quite a long time to come out and talk about all of these things, you know? It's what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's interesting you asked me that, because David Hoffman did an interview with me, but he kept it very clean. He didn't want to get into the really dark abuse. With you, it was much more balanced. And as a matter of fact, at one point in your interview, I started crying that you had to cut it out, because I couldn't stop crying. So it's suddenly the floodgates opened. I said, "Oh God, I'm living it again," you know, and then we had to cut it, you know, because
you're still crying in that show, and it's very moving and touching. But I mean, you know, I know that you went through a lot, and it was almost like a huge cleansing. I do know that, because we went through a lot there, didn't we?
Well, yeah, and I think that that was the pivotal point of airing it on your show, that I was able to close the book. It was weird. Once we did the show, I remember I felt like this big weight was lifted off of me, like, good, it's out. I didn't have to write a book. I didn't have to write 10 songs, you know, and I just, you know, some actors, the same thing. You want to do a dramatic movie because you want to cry, and, you know, but with you, the interview was for me, all right, I got it out. Done. And it's funny, I really feel like it flew away. So thank you for that.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a great therapist.
Yeah.
That's a very, very beautiful thing, and I really appreciate that. And certainly people should watch it to see what we're talking about here, because it's amazing. But also your knowledge and going into this world of truth research, because once you wake up, you'll never be able to return to what you thought and what you thought the world was all about before. And I think here in our remaining moments, if you have something to close with, Joanna, first, I think it would be wonderful to hear if you have something you want to share here.
I just am so inspired, just what ERIKA said about this happiness thing. I only can add, because I really, really can relate to everything what we're talking about. And I also know Lucas a little bit more about you, but not so much about ERIKA yet. Hopefully that will change more and more. And about this happiness, yeah, we cannot be happy without being unhappy. It's this polarity, because if we block this unhappiness, we are not going to be able to feel happiness. So it's like the most honest answer I ever heard, because people, yes, they try to block negative feelings because it's bad. And then they cannot experience anything good, of course. And I'm always was like that. Like when I'm happy, then I'm really happy. When I'm not happy, I'm so unhappy. I'm gonna, you know, write about it. I'm gonna do something about it. So it's about this life that is making you complete. You cannot be without, you know, one hand. You have right hand, left hand. It's like, you know, the size of our body. We have light and darkness. It's probably going between those two in a harmonious moments, finding the dialogue between darkness and light, and let them coexist. Like in the symbol, you show the Tao on your hand, more like that. And you mentioned the humbleness, and I could not relate more, because I thought that I am pretty stable in my life. I had 2 immigration, very difficult experiences. And then last month, I did something that I never thought I will be doing. And I didn't. I did a lot of those stuff that I thought I would never make choices like I did. And it's like you are really asking yourself, what's your motivation? You know, when you are so thinking, like you mentioned, like you had this thoughts again, that you are more humble now because it can happen. It's like, I never say never, because now I need to figure out again, like the whole life lost sense in a particular moment. It's like almost like a breakdown. And to embrace that breakdown when it's happening, it's a very powerful moment to stay with yourself and let yourself fall apart, right? This is incredible. I let myself just to sit and cry and cry and cry, and until my body just released everything, you know, without blocking it. And I think if people would do that, just let themselves be unhappy, they probably would be more happier later, right? Just to what you were saying.
It's really very, very true and very powerful. And just before we give the final thoughts to Erika, can you mention, Joanna, where people can find you if they want to see all of your shows and your channel?
Oh, I have a number of videos in English, thankfully. So my channel is exactly as my name and surname, Joanna Pilatowicz. And I also have a website with my books, my art, my abstract art. I'm a painter of abstracts. It's joannapilatowicz.com. So you can see me there. But for today, to wrap it up, I feel like with this conversation, thanks to you, this is very unique meeting for me, because I think and I feel that we are lighting up those moments, hopefully for anyone who will be watching. So I'm sending my love, my light to anyone who's going to be watching this, so you can change your world for the better, no matter what your experience were.
Absolutely. So beautiful. Such wonderful, strong, and wise words, Joanna. And Erika, final thoughts from you?
Well, I will say that, well, Joanna, first off, before anything, I just want to say you're beautiful. I love you. And Lucas, you know how I love and adore you too. But I
want to hug you.
So thank you. I am hugging you too. Thank you. So my final word that I want to say is that we're in this organic body, and it belongs to the planet. It will return to the planet. And it's been a wonderful gift to have this beautiful temple. But the truth is that the beautiful saying, namaste, it means I see the light in you. So when I see the light in you, I see the light in me, and we are all connected. And that is the biggest message that I can give, is that we are all equal, we are all one, and there's nothing but love. In the end, it's all beautiful, beautiful agape love.
Thank you. Wow, beautiful. You know, this has been absolutely very touching and very moving and beautiful. And it ended up being exactly as we really wanted it to be, right? And it was just so beautiful to have you two strong, powerful, and inspiring, beautiful women on our show today. And I want to thank you both, ERIKA Nann and Joanna Pilatowicz. Thank you for being on Age of Truth TV.
Thank you, Lucas. You are making a lot of great things happen. It's happening because of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, let this light that we hopefully created for everyone here, for us, for everyone, be spread all over the world, and to our cosmic friends, hey, we are here. We are ready to cooperate. Maybe they hear us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Erika.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you, Joanna. And have a wonderful night in Madrid and in Florida.
Such an honor. Thank you so much. Just beautiful energy between the three of us. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And Lauga. And Lauga.
Yes, there he is. Oh, you were here all the time.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to ERIKA NANN and Joanna Pilatovic for joining us on Age of Truth TV, and thank you all for watching. You can support us by clicking onto our website, ageoftruth.tv. And please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website, ageoftruth.tv as well. Please also subscribe to our alternative channels on BitChute and Brighteon. Your support is greatly needed and very appreciated. On behalf of the Age of Truth TV team, we thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.